Hi, everybody. Welcome once more to Ideas Matter. Um, we are determined to make sure we help our leaders, the African leaders, to change for the good of their own countries and for the good of the continent itself, for the people there. Because we have suffered a lot. We have suffered, the black people all around the world. They have suffered enough, and we think that if Africa can, have a better image, a different image, that will have a different image too on all of the black people all around the world. So we want to focus on our leaders, hoping that they will change. Because if at some point they remain adamant to change, they refuse to change, the citizens, the African citizens, or of their own countries will have no choice but to decide whether to continue to suffer this way and have the kind of humiliation they're having both at home and in the diaspora, or out when they go out there facing racism and the suffering and the humiliation. So they will decide whether to continue suffering like that or take their own destiny into their hands, to rise up and take over power and change things for the good of themselves and the good of those to come after them. So in my previous video, if you had watched one of my videos, I had made proposals to African leaders to copy from those former icons, African icons that have already gone. Like we talk about the Gaddafi, we talk about Thomas Sankara, we talk of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, we talk of Nelson Mandela. So today we want to propose other ways, to our African leaders, and we hope that they will listen to us. So African leaders, please avoid staying in power for too long. Nothing lasts forever. Too much of anything is toxic. Too much of anything is toxic. In fact, no matter how good that thing is, doing it too much becomes good for nothing. In fact, it's toxic because look at the image you give to yourself. Sometimes you stay there, you can't even walk. Some can barely walk, but they still want to stay there. You use that power to kill yourself. Sometimes you need some time to rest. You are not the only citizen of your own country. Other people were born to participate in moving the country forward, in building that country, in having their own opinions heard. But you come and you stay there forever. It doesn't work like that. So African leaders, please avoid this. Focus on what brings dignity to your own country, to your own people. Stop too much excessive borrowing. Every year we keep borrowing. At some point, we are even asking for aid, and it has gone more than that aid. Now it's like begging. You go around the world begging. Look at the humiliation. You put your children too. You put your own citizens too. What kind of image do you give to the world of yourself? You borrow from one decade to another, one generation to another. When are we going to finish paying all these debts? Ask yourself this. The children that will come after you, your children's children, the children's children, they will just be caught suffering. Tell me why the world will not treat us like this. Why do we think? Give me some reasons. Africans, black people, give us some reasons why we think the world should not treat us like this. African leaders, copy the example of Barack Obama. Copy the example of Barack Obama after he was given the opportunity to serve. He served well. He served well. Remember the speech he gave there in Kenya when he visited Kenya. He asked you guys, he asked all of you converged in Kenya, ask yourself, why do you have to stay for this long? Changing constitutions, stop changing your constitutions. He said if he wants to still go for election in America, he is very sure that he will win. But the law is the law. Stop changing the constitution. What does the constitution say? Even your own kind of democracy there in Africa that you practice, where do you have that kind of democracy from? Don't you have, the white people, they brought their own system of government and gave it to us, and we accepted. They told us everything about us was bad, and we accepted. Look at what we have today. Even that democracy, do we follow the principles, the rule of democracy? Do we follow that? No. Stop this. When your children rise up, look at Kofi Annan. Kofi Annan, he did his best when he was given the position at the United Nations as Secretary General. Why did he receive the Peace Prize? Why did he receive it? Why can't we copy some example? I've already mentioned people like Nkrumah that we should copy from. Thomas Sankara. Thomas Sankara proposing in 1987, he calls on African countries, the African leader, join me. Let us refuse paying all these debts we're paying to the foreign banks, the IMF and so on. They borrow us money with interest, high interest rate. Look at our resources become a target. Instead of us to use part of this money to develop our country for the good of our people, all our money we're paying debts. The resources going to them. Stop paying some of these debts. Stop them. Join me. Let us use part of this money. Let us use our resources to develop our country. Let us develop for the good of our people. Who listens to him? Who even kills Thomas Sankara? His own right-hand man. We call it Blaise Compaoré. Wow. It is not normal that with all the good lands we have out there, our people should still be suffering from hunger. That's what Thomas Sankara said. Stop driving these expensive cars. Buy expensive cars. You should drive even the cheap cars. You drive them yourselves. And we saw him. Sport. Carry out sport activity. We saw Thomas Sankara himself playing basketball, running around, doing sport. It was for the good of the country. Nkrumah said we should come up with the United States of Africa. I hope African leaders, please be working up toward that dream. Come up with a central bank. Come up with an all-African currency, a common currency that will be for you. Without all these things, we are not independent. Our languages push the background. We're using French, English, this, Spanish, and that. Look at in Cameroon, because somebody is Francophone, Anglophone. Look at the division that we have there. African people, why don't we just know the leader là, nouveau leader africain là? Est-ce que nous sommes encore conscients de nos pays, nos peuples? Est-ce que nous réfléchissons encore? Est-ce que nous sommes des moutons? On dirige que, vous dirigez que. Thomas Sankara, finally he said, si le Burkina Faso si Burkina Faso toute seule refuse de payer la dette, je serai plus à la prochaine conférence. 3 mois après, Blaise Compaoré, he's the one, Blaise Compaoré takes down Thomas Sankara. African leaders, why do you betray us? Stop betraying yourselves. These are some of the things we propose to you. Stand together and take your decisions together. I don't know what the AU is there for. When you guys meet every year, what do you think about? When you meet at the AU summit, what do you guys really think? What do you really discuss about that will bring some dignity, some respect to you, your country, and your people? What have we achieved? What are we achieving just every year? Just one thing. Ask yourself this. Why can't we produce enough crops? We have money, even if it means opening up state-owned farms that will provide enough food for our people, provide subsidies to our people to produce enough food. Look at we're still using foreign curriculums in our schools. When we have our children out there, our people who can design new African or different countries' school curriculum that will suit, will bring up some dignity, teach the children your cultural values. Look at our religion destroyed. We now look at what some of these pastors are doing. Our leaders control some of these churches. Some of these churches should be banned. They should delete some of these churches. Mushroom churches everywhere. Look at what our people go through. Why can't some of these pastors copy from this general overseer, Chibuzo Chinyere of the OPM or the Omega Power Ministry in Nigeria, then in Port Harcourt? What are you using your money for? He building schools, providing uniforms, libraries, computers, cameras, everything for free, food, feeding, everything. What are the other pastors doing? These men of God, some of them are thieves, liars. God has said, sleeping with people's women, stealing money from people in the name of prophecy, sowing seed. What are the African leaders are watching? For God's sake, what are we doing? When you go around signing trade deals, you just go and sign. You just go and sign as if you're blind people. Make your own trade deals and give to them and see whether they will just sign all as you do. Because in those contracts, there are some intricacies. There are some intricacies that you need to read. Take some time. Give yourself, ask them to give you some of those contracts. You have time to study, check through, see where you can make amendments to benefit you and your people too. Why are we doing this to ourselves? What are we doing this? Why are we doing this to ourselves? What have Africans done? What has the black man done to merit all this kind of suffering? Look at what your children go through when they fly, going. Look, when Gaddafi was saying, let us form a central bank. Let us take ourselves out of this white man. Separate yourself from them. Let us build a central bank with a central currency, an African currency. Dinar that will be backed by gold. I will provide. Gaddafi said he will provide. Look at what happened. When the UN was taking Gaddafi down. How many of you, I'm asking South Africa and Nigeria, what did you guys do? As the major African countries, power there, other African leaders, what did we do? Now your children suffering. Who is fooling who? Are we using our head? African leader, as to nous réfléchissons encore. Vula. If we are out there, if we are there in Africa, sometimes we can't even say some of this because fear of persecution. When your people rise to protest, you catch them and you lock them up. Instead of listen to them. Listen to those people. Imagine what happened to Southern Cameroonians in Cameroon. The lawyers, the teachers. I see how they were dragged, student rape, torture, dragged in sewage. I mean, what are we doing to ourselves, for God's sake? And we have the guts to blame the white man. And we have the guts to blame the white man. Shooting innocent families, whole families, shooting children, 8 years, 9 years, all parents being burnt in the hole. African leaders. What is wrong with us, for God's sake? What is wrong with us? Why do we have to blame the white man when our own, we are worse? We live like monkeys. And we said that they should not call us monkeys. Why can't we change, for God's sake? I just hope that somebody somewhere is listening. We need to bring some dignity to ourselves. Bring some respect. When are you going to finish paying all these debts? One generation after another. And it's going on and on and on. Oh, what a race. What a people. What a people. Stop all buying all those expensive cars. In fact, the kind of universities you are sending your children over there, open some of those universities back in your country, in your continent. The kind of university you want your children, the kind of schools and university you want your children to attend over there, open them back there in your continent so that other children will benefit. What shows that you love your country as the leader of that country? Stop stealing elections. Stop bribing people to vote, giving them 1,000, 500. Look at America, the bedrock of democracy. Do they give their citizens $1, $15, this, go and vote? Do they do that? Where is our own replica of democracy coming from? For God's sake. For God's sake. Build cultural centers, cultural research centers. Let our children begin to find out how we were governed in the past, how we lived in the past, so we can go back to our roots. A people without their own roots, they are no people. You are like a tree that has no roots, and you die. That's what Africa is suffering from. Invest in some of the children, send them abroad to learn some of those technologies, bring them home, develop the continent, and employ students, employ other people, train other people to take forward this technology. When you are signing some of those, why don't you ask for transfer of technology? Let them come and build some of those computers, some of those planes, some of those trains, so that you can come and build that in your country, in your continent, so your children can also benefit. They can study some of this thing and learn, because they will not remain colonial masters forever. We are determined to see Africa change. We will not allow this continue. African leaders, it's time you listen. Your children, those icons, they have lived, they proposed to you until you did not listen. Look at what would have happened in the Cameroons. The Omniobe, look at Omniobe. Look at Ernest Wanji. Had the people of the La Republic, people of the French Cameroon, had they listened to Ernest Wanji, had they listened to Omniobe, this conditional independence, why are we today? Coopération Française, African leader, why can't we think? Look at what has become of Cote d'Ivoire. Look at Mali. Look at what is boiling up in Guinea Equatorial. Look, where is Laurent Gbagbo? When you don't have the backing, When the people cannot have your own backing, you cannot have the backing of your people too. You African leaders, stand together. Where are we going? For God's sake. I hope somebody is listening.